People need an income that's guaranteed to them.
If you lose money to taxes, you never get that money back.
You need to get serious about adding some lower risk.
Greed. I don't like greed.
The thing to be afraid of, honestly, is the thing that we're not thinking of, the black swan event.
There's a tsunami coming. Bye.
Welcome to Retirement Coffee Talk with Charisse Rivers.
Just coffee talk.
There's a lot of noise, a lot of chatter. Who do you listen to? Who do you not listen to? You have to stay focused.
A fun and informative look at the issues of wealth, retirement, and protecting your life savings.
These advisors out there that were trained to sell, and have all these fees, they don't want to talk about this product, so they make less money.
And now, Retirement Coffee Talk with Charisse Rivers.
Hello again, and welcome to Retirement Coffee Talk with Charisse Rivers at Zinnia Wealth. You can find us, of course, as always, online at zinniawealth.com, ZINNIA wealth.com. And we are here to talk a little bit about you and your money, where it is, and how it is going to power your retirement. Do you have that person in your life right now that's going to kind of do the nuts and bolts, the math of your retirement? And, you know, that's what we all want to know. Did I do enough? Did I save enough? How is this all going to work? That's what this is all about. Charisse, how are you doing today?
You know, I'm doing great, but I'm greater because it's the most wonderful time of the year, and it's not Christmas yet.
Football season.
Football season.
Yes, indeed.
'Tis the season. I love football. I don't know about you, but even if I'm just not even watching it, I just keep the TV on. I have the doors open. I tinker around the house, watch a couple of games here and there. I just hear the noise. It just puts me in this glandular of a mood. It's really great mood. So yeah, go Gators.
Yep.
It's a work in progress here, but we'll get there eventually.
Yep. So college football's underway. Pro football gets underway this weekend. So it's going to be a fun time of year. That is for sure.
Yes.
So,
and on top of that, it is the season, most wonderful time of the year. Let's not forget to do a shout out for 'tis the season to give back. You don't have to wait till December to start giving back and donating to charities and helping out, because we have Give for Marion coming up here.
So that's a website that everybody can go to right now. It's giveformarion.org. And we're going to have some representatives from them coming in next week as we'll talk to them, because this is a 1-2-day event where you can connect up with the things that you're passionate about when it comes to charities in our area. There's probably people that are doing the thing that you want to get involved with, but you have no idea who they are. We can put you together.
Definitely. The Grilled Cheese Foundation, you guys know who that is. That's our 501c3. We'll be part of that program. The Rock Foundation, we're even donating to their foundation. I love what they do. It's all about kids. I mean, Vocal, I love what they're doing over there with the animals, you name it. If you have a love and you want to give back, it is the best time to give back. And the main reason is because September 17th to the 18th is when there's going to be matching programs from the Marion County Community Foundation. So if you donate, that donation could get a match, which is free money for the charity. So it's really the best time. So we'll have them in, Miss Lauren and Ashley, next week. We're super excited about it.
Well, again, you can check it out at giveformarion.org, and that is a number 4, giveformarion.org, and find out. There's lots of people out there that are loving and doing the same thing you want to do. Let's put you together and make that effort really, really effective. You can find it again, giveformarion.org.
Yes. And just so you know, our exact donation spot, we'll have some things on our website. If you want to go through their site, but go right to Grilled Cheese Foundation, you can find it on our site. But that's the other way to do it, by the way.
All righty. So one of the things that we do here in the first segment usually is talk a little bit about the green arrows and the red arrows and the economy and things like that, because that is a concern. One of the things that we've warned you about over the years is when you get into retirement, one of the first and worst things that could happen is that market goes down significantly. That hurts you for years in retirement. So if we can avoid that, if we can protect your money from a downturn early in retirement, we have gone over one of the major hurdles. So let's take a look at what we got right now. And it is interesting, Charisse, when these reports come out, it could be a retail report, an earnings report, a employment report, an inflation report. We get those numbers and the market reacts up or down. And then weeks later, they go, oh, you know that number we gave you? We were wrong, so we're going to revise that number. And then the market reacts again. So it's kind of a crazy, crazy treadmill that we're on here. This is Matt Orton, and he's from Raymond James. He's on Fox Business, and he says, you know what? I don't really pay attention to a lot of those numbers.
I try and look past all of these revisions because a lot of it is just noise to me. The Fed is smarter than that. A lot of consumers and strategists are smarter than that. People are still spending money, and corporate America is continuing to do well. So when you put all of that together, I think it paints a reasonably bright picture for the overall economy, and it gives me optimism in this bull market going forward.
No, Sharice, in the open of our show, you say don't listen to the noise out there. And the noise can come in all sorts of different ways. It could be real negative or it could be real positive. But I guess what we really have to do is really look at the numbers, do the math, and figure it out for ourselves, don't we?
Yes. And I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fear monger. I just reason with math and data points, leading indicators, lagging indicators, technical indicators, fundamental indicators, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I don't see the optimism. And I don't know if he has his head in the sand and if he's not hearing the noise of this looming potential recession. People just don't say it to say it because they're trying to make money. They say it because of these things that are indicating that, hey, we clearly could be on our way. So you better watch out because what if it is actually going to happen? And this guy's like, there's no proof and it's going forward. And my heart is pounding a little faster than usual when we do radio because he sounds good. He's from Raymond James. I don't have a problem with Raymond James. This guy sounds like he knows what he's doing. And if you're an average investor and you have a 401k and you're ticking along, you're like, hey, this guy said it's good. He's with Raymond James. It must be good. He looks good. He smells good. He sounds good. Well, it's got to be good. And the problem is too many people are listening to too much noise. We look at fundamental data. We look at technical analysis, leading indicators, and lagging indicators. The recession indicators out there are things like, Randy, we've talked about this, inverted yield curve. That's historically leads to a recession, and that just means short-term bonds and notes and treasuries make more money than long-term investment. A one-year bond is making more money than a 10-year bond, but really, in the end of the day, the longer you hold the bond, the more money you should make, but that's not what's happening. So it's been inverted. Then we have the VIX index, if you guys follow that. That tracks volatility. It's all over the place. We look at GDP, gross domestic product. That is not looking good. And we have lower industrial output, and we have growing unemployment. I don't know if you guys heard about this massive, what do we call it?
The revision.
The revision. They're saying almost 1 million jobs were reported incorrectly. There's a lot of things that we are not used to seeing that are taking place right now.
Well, one of the things about the job thing is you and I have talked about the economy, and we've all been wondering if a recession is looming. One of the last shoes to drop is when the unemployment rate starts going up. And we've seen that. But at the same time, if, in fact, that there are 1 million fewer jobs out there than what we thought, isn't that the shoe to drop, and doesn't that forecast a recession? So, you know, the market usually goes up at the end of the year with a little Santa Claus rally. We don't know what we're in for. The Fed is obviously going to start cutting the rate soon. What does that do? I heard Mark Tepper the other day on CNBC say that 1 year after the first rate cut, the market is down 23%. That's what market history shows us. So there's a lot out there that says, you know what? Protect yourself. I mean, last week we had that little list that we said, here's 5 things that you can do to protect yourself in the case that we have a recession. One of them is to come in, talk to your financial advisor, rebalance so you don't have too much risk in case something like this happens.
Right. And then I read something, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. We're talking about leading indicators and lagging indicators. Leading indicators, just so you all know, is what's coming, and lagging is what has happened. And it said, I think we're at like 29 months, Randy, of leading indicators going lower and getting slightly worse each month.
The economy is slowing. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, the economy is slowing. So, you know, what does this mean? The economy is slowing, Sharice. You know, I'm getting ready to retire. Gosh, I am in retirement, right? Well, let's talk about what is actually happening here in my office in Ocala. We're building a new TV and radio room. And that costs money. Mm-hmm. And when I hired somebody to start the process, it was a contractor. That contractor now had to hire a TV and radio and light and sound producer. So that cost money. That contractor paid them money. And then the contractor also had to hire subcontractors, right, to do the walls and the painting and all that kind of stuff. Now, the subcontractors have employees also. And then when they're all done working or they go take a break, they're eating at McDonald's or Subway or maybe Outback across the road. And those dollars, everybody's making money and then taking that money and spending it because they're also going to Lowe's and Home Depot and the Guitar Center here. And they are spending the money locally. Now, let's fast forward in 12 months. If we are closer to a recession, I can promise you this much. I would not have spent the money to do that. Mm-hmm. I would have been tightening my budget. Mm-hmm. And over the last 12 months, if you go back exactly 12 months ago, the service-based economy has changed. People are spending less. They used to spend a whole lot more, and that's because all those 3 stimulus checks that went out, that money's gone. The PPP loans and the emergency small business loans, that money's all gone. So from 2020 to 2022, all the money's been spent, and now look where we're at. Now, all of a sudden, 2023, that was last year's, right? Lagging indicators, what happened is not showing us positive. Now, forward thinking, we're in 2024, it doesn't look good. It's not looking good. So when this guy's like, oh, it's optimism, it's not optimistic. It's math. And we just want to prepare for the what if. And I'm all about the stock market growing. I want the stock market to grow. You all know that, right? Like, go, stock market, go. But we also want to make, sound back to football. We also want to make smart choices. And if you are, I'm going to say, 2 to 5 years before retirement, and you think you're going to retire in 5 years, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. If we take a knife dive jar down and the stock market's lost 40 or 50, maybe 60%, like we saw in 2007, 8, and 9. It's been almost 16 years. The stock market eventually has to come down. You all know that. We've all talked before. If you chase the tail of the rocket ship, you're eventually going to get burned. It's okay to chase that rocket ship, right? We all do it. But do we want to do it on all of our money? Where is our income coming from in the next 3 to 5 years? And I hope it's not from chasing the tail of that rocket ship.
You're listening to Retirement Coffee Talk with Sharice Rivers at Zinnia Wealth. There's a lot of noise out there, one side and the other. One person says, I'm optimistic. I think the market's in bull market and we're going to roar. Another person says, recession right around the corner. How do you sift through it? Well, you sit down and say, okay, that's Wall Street. How about my street? How about Main Street? How about me? Let's figure out what I'm doing with my money to protect myself from whatever is coming. If it's growth, let's position you there. If it's not, let's give you that protection that you need. That's what it is to have that portfolio x-ray from Sharice. You can have that at no charge. Give us a call. We'll analyze what you've done so far to save for retirement. Are there any gaps there? Are you going to have the income that you need? Are you protected against a market decline? Let's find out and let's get to work. 833-368-3680. Again, 833-368-3680. Or find us online at zinniawealth.com, ZINNIA wealth.com. There's a gold box down there that says complimentary retirement consultation. Click on that. You'll be on your way. Take a break. Come right back with more of Retirement Coffee Talk. Welcome back to Retirement Coffee Talk with Sharice Rivers at Zinnia Wealth. Online, zinniawealth.com. Or if it's time to talk about your retirement, give us a call. 833-368-3680. Well, most of us have a 401k. That is where we've been saving most of our retirement money. And I would imagine that you've probably had numerous meetings. They open up the lunchroom, the cafeteria. They have some kind of a meeting room, and somebody from that 401k provider comes in and tells you what you can do and how to do it. That's not happening, huh? Okay. I've been in a 401k for 40 years, and nobody has ever done anything like that for me. It's always been up to me to figure this out. And Sharice, you mentioned this last week. That's why I'm bringing it up. People are in these places where they put their money, and they're getting no help. They're getting no guidance. And they come out and go into retirement and they go, okay, now what? How is this thing going to pay me? And you've said there are many employers out there that people come to you a couple of years before retirement and they say, Sharice, what do I do with this? I got $1 million in this thing, but what do I do with it? Because I'm not getting any help.
Yes, no support. I will say 8 out of 10 people that we sit down with, whether they're at Duke or another electric company, or they're at the sheriff's department, OPD, or the fire station, they're like, there's no education, Sharice. Like, why? And I can't give an answer. I'd love to get into all those places and teach my educational course as people are prepping 5 years before retirement. I mean, boy, that would help them so much. And on top of that, there's not just these 401ks have a small menu. So it is what it is. So you got to pick the right stuff while you're using the small menu at your 401k. So that's the other tricky part. But when it comes to support, people reach out to us because they know we're going to educate them first. And they just know we're going to give them the guidance because it's not out there. And yeah, you can go have breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the villages for free, learning about every trick and trade and the financial services industry. And then in Ocala, you can at least have a couple dinners here and there for free. And in Gainesville, it's like pittance. You might get one a month over there, right? But there is these workshops out there like ours. They're coaching you up and they're teaching you about, hey, this is what we do and this is how we help retirees. And you should go to those and learn about them. And then find that financial planning or advisory team that works best for you based on what they're telling you. But don't just go to one, go to a couple, and then you're being prudent about those decisions. So you actually have to step outside the door. I call it stepping outside the 401k world. It's also called life after the 401k. What are you going to do with that money? And a lot of people I know on radio, they like me to give them advice. Sharice, okay, so great. We don't have support. So what should we do with our 401ks? But I have to be careful. I'm a fiduciary. Our advisors are fiduciaries. Zinnia Wealth Management is a fiduciary firm. And by law, we cannot give advice over radio on 401ks particularly. But if you come in and see us, we can give you that one-on-one advice. We are helping many, many people with their 401ks. Even if you're not quite retired, we're at least giving you the direction. Make sure you bring your statements in so we can see exactly all of your options. We'd love to give you that 401k review. But here's one of the biggest myths out there, Randy. Your 401ks, I know there's a husband and wife right now listening, or maybe just a wife or just a husband, but you're married. And you both might have old 401ks. You might even have some IRAs. And you'll have 2 old 401ks with old employers. So that's 4 if you both have 2. And then you might have an IRA each. So you guys have 6 accounts. Do you know, even if you are not 59 and a half, like the 59 and a half rule just says, hey, when you're 59 and a half, you can take all of these retirement dollars and now you don't have that 10% penalty from Uncle Sam. But if you have left an employer for any reason, firing, you left, and you left that old 401k that's not doing anything, it's basically got its head in the sand, and it's charging you fees, you can roll those over to an IRA. So if you have an IRA, you just call that 401k company, give them the new IRA number, and it rolls over. There's no taxes and there's no penalties. It doesn't matter if you're 40, doesn't matter if you're 50, doesn't matter if you're not 59 and a half. You can do that because you're not with that employer anymore. Now you can consolidate everything. On top of that, you can have a local advisor helping you.
Mm-hmm. And there's no reason to wait until you're done working in order to get some of that guidance. You can come in with your 401k, and we can help you with that. And, of course, now, when we talk about getting education, we talk about events, and Sharice mentioned the villages. We are doing a couple of events at the villages, our Zinnia U events, on the 17th and 18th. And I talk to Sharice regularly and say, okay, what are people asking? Let's address that here on the show. So you've just hit on one there. We're on an employer benefit plan, which is a 401k, and then you're saying while you're working, you can still roll that money into your own personal IRA. So talk to me about the difference. For people who don't know that, the difference between a 401k and a personal IRA. Tell me about that and what are the advantages of moving it over to your own control?
Right. So a 401k, you might have 20 or 30 options, but when you roll your 401k to an IRA, it's the same thing. You're just moving out of the 401k. Now you're moving to an IRA. where you have the freedom to choose any financial advisor in an entire country you want. And you still have that tax deferred status. You don't pay the taxes till you pull it out to live on. You don't have a penalty, right? And now you have 30,000 plus options of all types of investments out there to invest in, all the way from stocks, dividend stocks, exchange traded funds, mutual funds, real estate investments, treasuries, bonds, you name it, Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, whatever you want, real estate. There's so many things you can do with that. Now you have control of your life, because you got to start planning now, especially before you're in retirement. It always helps so much when you can plan before you have retired. And you can do these things. You call your employer, and I will say 9 out of 10 employers out there, if you ask them, hey, can I do an in-service distribution? If you are working with an employer right now and you have a 401k, depending on your age, typically it's 55 and older, you can ask your employer, can I do an in-service distribution and pull 50% of this out and roll to an IRA, or 100%, and still contribute to my 401k? And you guys still give me a match? And they're going to say yes. That's the cool thing. People don't know that. But we were just talking about old 401ks sitting around with the old employers that you're not even with anymore. So there's so many things that you can do. But don't be afraid of an IRA. One thing I've learned, Randy, most people, when they come in and we have rolled their 401k over to their IRA, it just dawned on me the other day. They're like, where's my 401k? Okay, that IRA is my 401k. Okay, so they keep calling it their 401k.
Okay, all right, got
I was
it.
like, this is no longer a 401k. It's not with your employer. Now it's an IRA, but it's kind of the same thing. But now we get to have some fun. We can put this written plan together. We can now say, maybe it's time we work on the tax plan, because all these dollars are going to be 100% taxed one day, probably right when taxes are sky high. Who knows? Why don't we start rolling a little bit of this every year into a Roth IRA? And people are like, yeah, now we're talking. That sounds exciting. Until I tell them how much they have to pay in taxes that year to do it. I just did this the other day. And they're like, ow. I was like, yeah, but all that money in the Roth IRA goes tax-free. And then you won't be taxed as much later. And I went, oh, makes sense. So there's so much planning. A lot of people think it's all about the investment. How much money can I make? I want to double my money. But don't forget, don't double your taxes at the same time, right? There's more than just the investment plan. There's a tax plan, the healthcare plan, the estate plan. And don't get ripped off with fees. Fees are ridiculous. Some 401ks overcharge. Some advisors out there way overcharge on fees. So the goal is also to get your fees lower as you're transitioning into retirement at the same time.
Well, I've been in plenty of 401ks, and they're pretty much all the same. You look in there, and there's an index fund, there's a bond fund, there's a cash fund, there's an aggressive fund and a conservative fund, and then there's the target date funds. And that's pretty much it. Maybe you have more, but if you wanted to, say, for instance, over the last 2 years, you saw NVIDIA and the Magnificent Seven going crazy, and you say, how can I get in on that tech? And there's nothing there in your 401k to say, I want to go into that tech sector. Well, if you had your own personal IRA, there would be. And Charisse can help you with that. Kind of open up your horizons a little bit to your investment choices, and that could surely help you in your retirement. Give us a look online. We'll do what we call a portfolio x-ray. And if you have a 401k, and even if you're still working, come on in. Let's find out what's going on in there, and maybe we can help you just with some choices. And if you're 59 and a half, there's a lot of choices that you can have. 833-368-3680. Again, 833-368-3680 is our number. Ask us for that complimentary retirement consultation. You can bypass that and just use our website, zinniawealth.com, ZINNIA wealth.com. A gold box there says complimentary retirement consultation. Click on that and you'll be on your way. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, people who are in retirement were asked a question. People who are getting ready for retirement were asked the question, and the answers came back completely different. Why would that be? We'll talk about it. Coming up next on Retirement Coffee Talk. Welcome back to Retirement Coffee Talk with Sharice Rivers at Zinnia Wealth. Online, it's zinniawealth.com, ZINNIA wealth.com. We encourage you to go to our website and tool around a little bit. Up on the navigation bar, there's an education tab up there, and there's a drop down that says useful guides. There's a ton of stuff there that you can download. It's about 401ks. It's about Medicare. It's about Social Security. It's about, single women going through retirement alone, and all sorts of really, really good topics that I think you're going to hit on some things that you really like. That's, again, on our website, zinniawealth.com. Okay, so new Gallup study out there, and they talk to people in retirement and people getting ready for retirement. 75% of people who were retired say they're confident that they're going to have enough money for retirement. Yet only 45% of people who are preparing for retirement feel the same way. So there's some uneasiness going in. Once they get in, they feel pretty good about things. Sharice, why is that? I mean, these are the people that we're talking to right now, people preparing for retirement, and they're all scared that they didn't do enough. What's the difference between the two here?
It's a little contradicting to past surveys from Gallup study, actually, because the numbers weren't this high before, but they're changing. So 75% of people in retirement are confident now. So that just probably means they've created a plan. They see the pictures. They probably diversified, right? Instead of just having 30 options to choose from in a 401k, now they're retired. They're sitting in their IRAs. The advisor said, hey, let's sprinkle in an annuity. Let's sprinkle in some treasuries. Let's sprinkle in some exchange traded funds. Let's sprinkle in some stocks. Maybe we'll even get some notes and real estate. So those people must be working with some sort of advisory team that they trust. And if not, that advisory team will be fired in 3 to 5 years, right? So these polls might change again in the future, but that just means that there's more confidence. And when people come into our office, we do create a written plan. We write it down. We put it up on our sheets. They get to take it home. It does give them confidence. I think what happens is people, when you start to retire, and you're finally in retirement, you stop listening to all the noise too. And you start to just build trust with that person, which is key. That is a key indicator, because that now is giving them permission to go on the trip and say, I'm not worried about it. I'm on my trip. I'm on my cruise ship. I'm in Spain. Oh, the stock market crashed. I am not worried because I know my plan. But then there's some people out there that have an advisor that are confident, and they're on their trip in Spain or Italy, and the stock market crashes, and they're worried as can be. So if that's you, the person who's worried in retirement while you're on your trips, you shouldn't be. That means maybe you're not with the right advisory team, right? So yeah, there's some great advisors out there. I'm friends with them across the country. We're all doing the same thing, I think. The fiduciaries out there, at least, and some non-fiduciaries, but there's thousands to choose from, Randy. Thousands of advisors. There's a very small percentage that are fiduciaries, and an even smaller percentage that do written plans, which is interesting to me, because this Gallup poll says that they found 75% of people in retirement are confident. So I'm just a little interested about why the number's so high. Or is this the confidence so high right now because they just did this survey because the stock market's up? Everybody's happy when the stock market's up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I'm curious. I haven't dug into this poll, but now I'm just curious because we did a poll a month ago and it says the confidence is really down, but it was on a different element, I think. And so I'm saying it this way. I'm just kind of digging in, trying to figure out, get to the nitty gritty here. You guys are going to learn, I will ask 10 questions on one. Something doesn't sound, if it smells funny, I'm going to question it, right? And that's my job. If you bring your portfolio in, we do a portfolio x-ray, I'm going to see if anything, I'm going to sniff it out. I'm going to see if anything looks funny, smells funny. If the rate of return is too low for the fee that they're charging you. That's what we do here. I'm going to sniff out any hazards. I'm going to find out if you're doing the right thing. I'm going to create the plan. And it's just not I've got a team here, by the way. I have an amazing team here, and they're all working around the clock for you to help us build these income plans, these tax plans, the estate plans, the healthcare plans. There's a lot that goes into what we do here as a fiduciary firm. We're proud of it. We love it. I just enjoy coming into work each and every day. People are like, Sharice, you just seem to love work too much. I'm like, when you're building something and something's growing, it is exciting. And then you're helping others grow within the team. And then you're watching your clients grow. And you just create partnerships and friendships and a family here. And that's just the way we want to run. We want a really great culture here, full circle.
Well, year after year, if you look at the number one concern of people getting ready to retire, it's, I don't want to run out of money. Well, here we have a study that says 75% of people in retirement are confident that they will not run out of money. Why is that? They very likely have been working with someone, a financial plan is in place, and they have confidence. That's the word we want for you. Confidence that you can go through retirement knowing that you can spend money confidently, you're not going to run out of money, and when that market does what it does, you don't have to lose sleep at night. Give us a call, give us a look, and we would love to put together that kind of plan for you to give you that kind of confidence. 833-368-3680 is our number, 833-368-3680 or zinniawealth.com. All right, when we talk about this show and we introduce you to Sharice and say she can help you with your retirement, there's a lot of people out there, obviously, that are doing the very same thing. And sometimes they fall down on the job, and we get a lot of stories like that, and a lot of them are in the advice columns, like in Market Watch and places like that. So people write in and say, I'm having a problem with my advisor. Can you help me? Well, here's one of those stories. My financial advisor invested my rollover 401k into some funds, and one of them has a, quote, 10-year double guarantee return. To me, that means this investment in 10 years should be guaranteed to double, right? Well, last year marked our 10 years, and guess what? It didn't double. I've talked to my advisor twice now and discussed it with him. He promised he would contact those higher up and get back to me. But it's been 3 months, and we still don't have anything. He wants to know if he wants to hire a lawyer. So, all right, first of all, Sharice, when I read a 10-year double guarantee, that's a red flag right there.
Oh, my gosh. Is it ever a red flag? 10 years ago, they weren't offering 7% return guaranteed fix.
Right.
So that can't be it because where interest rates were at. So how do you guarantee that? So somebody must have sold, I don't know, a funny money value account. Is that where you're going, Randy? I want to make sure.
I don't know. I don't know what this is. I mean,
I don't know what it is because if they guarantee 7%, yet it did not go up 7%, I just think that there's people out there who are selling things. They're product pushers. They're selling. They're transactional people. They're not fee-based. And they're promising you the world that at the end of the day, they're not delivering. So I have a feeling, Randy, this is possibly a variable annuity. I'm not a fan of variable annuities. You all know that. And variable annuities will say, hey, we're going to guarantee you a 7% return over the next 10 years. And don't worry about the sub-account values because we're working on this guarantee. But you put $500,000 in it, and it's supposed to double to $1 million. And you know what? There is a side account that might double to $1 million, and that we call a funny money account. And you are all thinking, funny money, Sharice, what? And you know what name is that all about? Yeah, it's called funny money. Because if they said, hey, this guarantee is funny money, it means you can never cash it out and your beneficiaries can never get it. So if you die, your beneficiaries don't get it and you can never cash it out. It is funny money, not your fun money. Funny money. It's fake. So the variable annuities typically charge 3% all the way to 5% in fees. So let's say you're in the ones that we typically see, and we do this annuity x-ray, and it was a 4% fee. That's normal. Let's say you made 7% a year because the stock market kept going, and you averaged 7%, but your fee was 3%. Well, then that means you only made 4% on average. And that's as long as the stock market didn't go down at all, which we all know is not the case. So it can't double. But the funny money account doubled. So then 10 years later, you call up this big white ivory tower, not going to pick on anybody, and say, hey, I'm ready to take my $1 million. And like, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, you can't have that. Who told you that? What? No. But your $500,000 that grew to maybe $650,000, maybe you got to $700,000. instead of $1 million, you can cash that out. And they're like, what? Then what's the $1 million funny money account for? Oh, you can take a 4% withdrawal from that. What? So
It's pretty complicated, isn't it?
it's pretty complicated. And it's just, it dings you. There's so many fees. So if you go down the annuity route, you want an income stream for life, and you want that 7% funny money account because you are wanting to take an income for life for the rest of your life, you really don't go down the variable annuity route because they charge 3 to 5% fees. You go down the more fixed index annuity route because they typically only charge 1%, and some of them charge 0. And then you'll get that 7% over the next 10 years, and it will double. That funny money account will double, and then you'll be able to take a withdrawal. But maybe your account value grew a little bit more. Maybe not. There's never any guarantee. Just know that anytime somebody says, we're going to guarantee you 7% for the next 10 years, red alert. What did our parents teach us? What did our grandparents teach us?
If it's too good to be true, it probably is.
It is. But some people are pot committed, Randy, and they just have to take their 4% out of it for the rest of their life. And they're just like later on, okay, well, that was just one of those snafus, and we got caught up in it, and it is what it is. So if you have an annuity, right now, market value adjustments, there is a backdoor way out of annuities. I just want you to know. It's called market value adjustments. And it's actually a bonus to get out, but nobody wants you to know about it. If you have one of those variable annuities, or if you just have an annuity you've had for 3 or 4 years now, and maybe you bought it for 10 years, there are some tricks of the trade to get out of them. Bring them in. We'll do an annuity stress test, and we'll just see where you're at. But I will say the last couple of people I saw, we were able to move them, and they had no penalty. And when we moved them, Randy, they actually had more money on the day that it moved over to another type of annuity. If you move it out to a non-annuity, you could be taxed. So it's a conversation. There's a lot that's involved. Again, know before you go. Know what the fees are. Know what you're getting. Don't let tall, dark, and handsome pull the wool over your eyes, okay? I know it sounds awful, and I'm not trying to be mean, but I get it. You know, it's
your
one of
money.
those things. It's your money. Take care of it. Be prudent. Get a second opinion.
Well, we would love to be that second opinion for you. And if this is one of those situations where you go, I wonder if what I'm in is where I should be. And that is a great question. Let's give you an evaluation. We do a free second opinion for you. We call it a complimentary retirement consultation, and we'll do that for you at no charge. You can set one up at 833-368-3680. 833-368-3680 or online at zinniawealth.com, ZINNIA wealth.com. There's a gold box there that says complimentary retirement consultation. We'll take a break, and when we come back, there's something strange going on at Costco and Walmart and Target and Home Depot. I don't think it's good, and we'll tell you about it coming up next at Retirement Coffee Talk. Welcome back to Retirement Coffee Talk with Sharice Rivers at Zinnia Wealth. Online, it's zinniawealth.com, ZINNIA wealth.com. Hope you go to the website today. As you look at the top navigation bar, you'll see events. Click on that, and you'll see that Sharice is going to be out with some more educational events. We call them Zinnia U, and we'll be in the Villages on the 17th and 18th. If you click on that, you'll be able to sign up right there, or you can give us a call, 833-368-3680. All right, so I shop at all these places, Costco, Target, Walmart, Home Depot. They all have one thing in common right now: red and green blinky lights. The Christmas trees are out. What's going on? It's September. Come on. It's not even Halloween yet.
You crack me up, Randy.
What's going on here?
You're so ready.
Yeah.
'Tis the season. My goodness.
There are inflatables. There's Santa Clauses. Come on.
Oh, I haven't had time to go shopping, so I don't even know what's out there.
What's going on? All right. I am not. My mind is not there yet of end of the year. My mind is just not there. But we're just talking about football season. Let's just get that going, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, simmer down over there, Randy.
I'm sorry. A little blood, a little vein in the middle of my
Your
forehead.
heart's beating like mine was at the beginning of this hour-long
I have to
show.
calm down. Shh, calm, zen, and all that. Okay. All right. So now I'm in the lotus position on my Asian rug, and I'm okay now. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Good job.
So Even though I am not ready to talk about the end of the year and Christmas, maybe you should be financially. This is that time where Cherise says, okay, I know we're going into the fourth quarter now. Let's get that meeting done before Thanksgiving, because then it's just a rush to the end of the year. Okay.
Randy, you're cracking me up.
I'm sorry.
today.
So we've got 2 months left before to do these meetings really, really well. So an end of the year meeting, Cherise, there's a window of opportunity before December 31st, things we have to address. This is a year where we've had a lot of up in the stock market. That should be addressed. Talk to me about what the fourth quarter end of the year meetings look like. What sort of moves should we be considering?
Yeah, so normally on our website, under the education page, we'll put an updated checklist, the end of the year checklist. So go ahead and start checking it twice. We have last year's up there, but it's basically going to be very similar till we update it. But there's 4 out of 6 of these checklist items that all have to do with taxes, right? So this is what I want you all to think about when it comes to your money, whether you're getting ready to retire in 5 to 10 years or you're already in retirement. You're all going to be in a different season of life. What are we going to do with our money in the long run? Well, we're going to will it. We're probably going to sell it. We're probably going to spend it, and we're definitely going to pay taxes on it. And your silent partner is ready to get most of it, right? So how can that silent partner, who we call Uncle Sam, get less of it? Well, as you all know, if you are proactive now working on your tax plan, today when taxes are lower, what's probably in a lower tax bracket or have us pay lower taxes in the future. And there's a few things you can do out there. One of my most favorite things to do, and you need to do it by at least November with us. Do not come in December 1st. Please come see us before then, because I'm too busy. And so are our advisors, by the way. I love doing tax loss harvesting. I do this every day. My gals chase me down. Okay, we got another tax loss. Like I'm being chased down the hall. Okay, bump, 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 bump. And what we're doing is we're selling some winners and we're selling some losers. And when you do this, you can offset the taxes and take this income without paying taxes. It doesn't always work perfectly, but the goal is to try to do it if we can. And Miss Michelle in my office has a panic attack when a client has a tax loss harvesting statement coming back. She's like, we can't sell anything because everything's high. And I went, Michelle, my clients know, and all the advisors' clients know that our job is to try to pay zero taxes. They are realistic to know that it's not always going to work out. And sometimes we do have to pay a little taxes, but we will try. And I will say 8 out of 10 times we win. Like really, my batting average is good 8 out of 10 times. So tax loss harvesting is key. It's important. And there's some neat strategies and things coming up that we do want to teach you about. Hey, we're doing a tax webinar September 18th. If anybody wants to chime into that, you just give us a call. We'll send you the link. But let me move fast forward. Now let's talk about your RMDs. We told you you're going to sell it. You might spend it. You're going to pay taxes on it, or you might will it to somebody, right? RMDs. When you are 73, you have to start pulling RMDs. Required minimum distributions. That just means you have a forced hand to take money out of your retirement accounts, whether it's a 401k or an IRA, wherever it's at, all that money you've saved in those accounts, you're forced to take money out. And if you have $1 million today and you're only 63, and then when you're 73, it doubles to $2 million, you're taking out double the amount and paying almost probably double the taxes. So how do we grow our money and double it if possible and not pay the double tax? So there are strategies there. I'm not going to give it all out on radio today. I think if you listen to past shows, you're going to know what I'm going to talk about. But one of the key things that we can do by the end of the year, by December 31st, is you can roll some of your IRAs over to your Roth. You have till December 31st to do that. After December 31st, we can't do that. So let's make sure if we're going to do it, let's do it by end of year. Like I said, no later than December 1st. And if you're thinking, well, Sharice, I got to pay the taxes on that. I don't have any money in savings. How are we going to do it? Well, if you have a brokerage account or an individual account, we might be able to do that other thing we just talked about called tax loss harvesting. We might be able to sell some winners and losers to take the cash flow to pay that tax bill this year. And you got to pay it in the year that you're actually doing the rollover. So that's the other key area. You get a little penalty next year. So two big parts, because when we said you're going to will it, sell it, spend it, RMDs means, okay, we got to sell some of our stuff because we are forced to take a distribution. But what happens when one spouse passes? Well, that surviving spouse is going to take on that money, those retirement accounts. They'll be in a higher tax bracket most likely, and they're going to have a lower income. So we're going to have to spend more in taxes, Charisse, when somebody passes. Yes, this is your widow's penalty. And then let's talk about the next phase and the next generation. What if the second spouse passes, where the kiddos now have a kiddos penalty, and now they got to pay taxes on those IRAs because they got to cash it out over 10 years. So do you guys see that this is a compounding tax problem, and it gets worse as each person passes away, and then it gets passed on to your heirs? Yes. So we need to have that conversation.
One of the things that we've talked about regularly for the fourth quarter is when you talk about taking your RMDs, this is money you have to take. And then people look at you and go, Charisse, I don't need this money. What do I do with this money? I'm just going to get taxed on this money. So you bring up the idea at the end of the year, many people are interested in doing charitable giving. You bring up something called a QCD, Qualified Charitable Deduction. So talk about how that works. We got about 2 or 3 minutes left.
Yes. So we talked about Give for Marion, a big event that's happening September 17th and 18th. Those people, if you haven't taken an RMD, you can, and you're 73, you have to be in that RMD phase of life to do this. If you just donate and write a check by now until the end of the year, that comes out of your bank account that you've already paid the taxes on. Why would you do that? If you are taking an RMD, instead do a QCD, Qualified Charitable Distribution Form. You put your charity of choice, you put their tax ID, and if you are forced to pull 40 grand out of your retirement accounts, and you're like, I really want to donate 5,000 of that 40,000, then you put 5,000 on that form. That charity or the church that you tied to gets that without taxes, and now you don't have to pay taxes on that either. So if it's something you're going to participate here in September 17th for that Give for Marion, for all those foundations here locally, this could be a great thing to do, but you got to get it ready, this paperwork ready now, so it's there. So again, QCDs, a fabulous thing, because if you are taking a standard deduction and you're not itemizing anymore, and you start writing checks to churches and charities, you can't write that off. So and the standard deduction is higher for most retirees than itemizing, so they take the standard deduction. So this is a double positive. So do these QCD forms. We will help you with them. Every custodian out there has them, and we'd be happy. So come see us, and we'll help you with those also.
Well, here we are at the beginning part of September. I know it seems so early to talk about end-of-the-year planning, but imagine how fast this goes. I mean, we've got September, October, 2 weeks in November, and we're done. Then the year just slides right through, all the way to Christmas. So let's get this done before Thanksgiving. Schedule your meeting, your end of the year meeting, and let's talk about not only the end of the year planning next April 15th, but all the April 15ths to come. Let's put you in a good position so that all that money that you've saved all these years doesn't get dinged by Uncle Sam. Yeah, we got to pay our taxes, but we don't have to overpay our taxes. So if there's strategies out there that we can help people, that we can use that money effectively, let's do it. Give us a call for that complimentary retirement consultation. It's 833-368-3680. 833-368-3680, or use our website, zinniawealth.com, ZINNIA wealth.com. Click on that gold box and you will be on your way. Charisse, that is all the time we have on this one. I'll give you the last word.
Tune into our podcasts, Retirement Coffee Talk, on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. Your Apple phones are on there. You can even listen to it on our radio show, because we've said a lot about taxes this episode. We talked about the indicators and the stock market and recessions. We talked a lot. So tune back in and hear our past episode, because there's a lot of noise out there, and we're getting to the end of the year, and there's a lot of things. I know that most of you who are listening today could use this valuable information for planning by end of year. So thanks for tuning in. 'Tis the season. Go Gators. Live by design and not by default. And we'll see you here next week.
This has been Retirement Coffee Talk. To find out more about how the strategies we've discussed on this program can build the retirement you've been wanting, call Zinnia Wealth at 352-368-3680 or visit us online at zinniawealth.com.
Sharice Rivers is an investment advisor representative of Zinnia Wealth Advisory, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Sharice Rivers is licensed in your state, please contact their office. Zinnia Wealth Advisory, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any client experiences discussed during this show are unique to that client. They are not meant to imply or suggest you will experience the same results. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Sharice Rivers, NPN Insurance License Number 8718011.